When a crime occurs, the first instinct of any investigator is to turn to the victim's family. Police procedure dictates treating the immediate household as a safe haven, relying on parents, siblings, and spouses as crucial allies in the search for truth. Investigative logic relies on this assumption of innocence. The entire system stalls when that trust is turned into a weapon against the authorities. Detectives suffer from a psychological phenomenon known as the family blind spot. Law enforcement, like the rest of society, has a deep-seated need to believe that the nuclear family is inherently safe and protective. By examining 3 cases, we see how investigators were forced to look past the evidence and confront a more difficult reality. The perpetrator was often the grieving family standing right in front of them. In the 1980s, Sharon Marshall was a brilliant high school student. She was a lieutenant colonel in the ROTC with a full scholarship to study aerospace engineering. Her path to a career at NASA was severed by the older man claiming to be her guardian, Frank Floyd. Frank and Sharon shared a bizarre dynamic. They moved across several states using a rotating list of aliases. Eventually, they stopped pretending to be father and daughter. They got married, and Sharon gave birth to a son, hiding the dark reality of their household behind a marriage certificate. Sharon died in a suspicious hit-and-run accident, prompting Frank to claim an $80,000 life insurance policy. To get the money, he had to provide his real name. This name linked him to a criminal history dating back decades. Investigators uncovered a horrifying reality. Sharon Marshall was actually Suzanne Marie Sevarkis, the biological daughter of a woman Frank married in the 1970s. Frank had kidnapped his own stepdaughter while her mother was serving a short jail sentence. He raised Suzanne as his child, married her when she reached adulthood, and then, according to investigators, murdered her and her son to protect his secrets. Frank Floyd exploited the family blind spot. Police overlooked a decades-long abduction because Frank presented it in the packaging of a traditional, if dysfunctional, family unit. Moving to eastern France in the 1980s, Jean-Marie and Christine Villemin lived a successful life until their 4-year-old son, Gregory, was found drowned in the Vallon River with his hands and feet bound. The police investigation immediately focused on an anonymous stalker known as the Crow. For years, this figure had sent threatening letters and made phone calls to the Villemin household, stating that Gregory's murder was an act of revenge against Jean-Marie. The investigation took a sharp inward turn. Handwriting experts analyzed the letters and pointed the finger directly at Gregory's own mother, Christine. This internal suspicion caused a devastating ripple effect. Refusing to believe his pregnant wife was capable of the murder, Jean-Marie sought his own justice. He took a gun to his cousin's workplace and shot him dead, convinced his own relative was the true killer. Today, authorities are using a technology called stylometrics, analyzing the distinct syntax, punctuation, and phrasing of the anonymous letters. The current evidence suggests a coordinated cover-up orchestrated entirely from within the extended family. The Villemin case has remained unsolved for nearly 40 years. The authorities' primary resource, the family unit, was a toxic network, protecting its own secrets over the life of a child. In San Antonio, Texas, a troubled 13-year-old named Nicholas Barclay vanished after playing basketball. 3 years later, his family received news. Nicholas had been found alive in Spain, having reportedly escaped a child trafficking ring. The boy who returned defied basic biology. Nicholas had been blonde with blue eyes. The person authorities brought home was a 23-year-old Frenchman with dark hair, brown eyes, and a heavy accent. He claimed his captors had chemically altered his appearance to hide his identity. FBI fingerprint and DNA testing identified the imposter as Frédéric Bourdin, a notorious European con artist nicknamed the Chameleon, who specialized in stealing identities and exploiting tragedies. The Barclay family ignored the obvious physical discrepancies. Investigators, and eventually Bourdin himself, presented a chilling theory. The family didn't fall for a scam. They willingly accepted the imposter. Detectives suspect that Nicholas's older brother, who had a history of conflict, murdered Nicholas. Bringing a fake Nicholas home and confirming his identity to the police provided the family with an alibi. If Nicholas is alive in Spain, he couldn't have been murdered in Texas. The family used society's respect for a mother's grief to their advantage. They used an international con artist as a human shield to stop the police from looking for a body in their own home. Frank Floyd, the Crow, and the Barclay family all succeeded because they understood human nature. They knew that society, and by extension law enforcement, places a halo of innocence over the family home. The principle of Occam's razor, that the simplest explanation is usually the correct one, struggles to account for these 1% outliers. To solve these cases, investigators have to strip away their most ingrained psychological biases. The terror of these stories lies in a single, lingering realization. The threat doesn't come from a stranger at the door. It's already inside, living in the room right next to you.